Can I ask you something before we dive in today? When was the last time someone asked you how you were doing and you actually stopped long enough to answer honestly? Not the I'm fine, just tired answer, but the real answer. Or how about this? When was the last time you woke up genuinely excited to go to work? When did caring for people start feeling like something being taken from you instead of something you get to give? If you just felt yourself nodding along, then this episode is for you. And if you're thinking, well, Shan, I'm not burnt out, I'm just a nurse. Okay, then stay with me, friend, because that sentence right there, that might be the most important reason you need to hear what I'm about to share. Today, we're talking about how to actually beat burnout. And I mean actually, not just survive it, push through it, or white knuckle it until your next day off. But before we can beat something, we have to know what we're actually dealing with. We have to know the enemy at hand. So that's exactly where we're starting today. It's going to be good. Let's dive in. If you're done running on empty, surviving shift to shift, and feeling life fatigue, then you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Shan Wright, registered nurse, holistic life coach, and mom of four who found her way through burnout and anxiety to peace and purpose with faith-based practices and God's design for whole person wellness. Here, I help nurses like you recover from burnout, regulate your nervous system, reconnect with God, and discover your identity beyond the badge. Are you ready to start caring for you the way you care for everyone else? I am. Go reheat that coffee again, and let's beat burnout together. What if I told you in just 5 minutes, you're going to reset your nervous system, recalibrate your mind, and reconnect with the truth of your identity? Yes, that's all it takes. I've created the STAT protocol. This is a 5-minute nervous system reset and mental shift for burnout nurses. If you're exhausted, bone tired, soul tired, the kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix, I've got you. This guide is your permission slip to pause, breathe, and remember who you are beneath the scrubs. You can grab it right now at www.theshanwright.com/stat. The link is also in the show notes. This is a free gift. Go grab it right now and find rest for your soul. First, I need you to hear this before anything else I say today. Burnout is not a personal failure. It's not weakness. It's not proof that you chose the wrong career or that you don't love your patients enough. It is actually a widespread, documented, classified health crisis, an epidemic, and you are sitting right in the middle of it with millions of other people who are just as tired as you are and just as reluctant to admit it. Here are the numbers, and I want you to really let these land. 60% of employees report feeling stressed all or most of the time at work. 77% report experiencing burnout in their current job. A Gallup study found that 23% of employees feel burnt out often or always. And excessive workplace stress has been estimated to account for 120,000 deaths every single year. Okay, again, 120,000 deaths from stress. That is the root of it. And in May 2019, the World Health Organization officially classified burnout as a syndrome. It defined it as the result of chronic workplace stress that has not been properly managed. Not poorly managed, but not properly managed, which means the system was never set up to help you carry this. And you have been carrying it anyway, because that's what nurses do. That's what we do. And you are not alone. You are not weak. And you are not the first person to sit exactly where you're sitting right now. You do have personal stress as well that's compounding your other workplace stress. And we will get to that. But just know that you aren't alone. And it's okay to feel this way. And know that when you can talk to someone or have someone else relate and understand, it makes a world of difference. Okay, so let's name it properly. We tame what we can name. When we can name it and reveal it, then we can heal it, okay? Or the Lord actually heals it. So Merriam-Webster defines burnout as, and I love this because we are nurses and this is going to make complete sense to you, the sensation of operation of a jet or rocket engine. Now think about that for a second. What happens before a rocket engine burns out? Flashing lights, alerts, alarms going off, everything in that system is sounding off at once, screaming that something is wrong, that the fuel is running out, that if something doesn't happen and change, the whole thing is going to shut down. Well, guess what? Your body works exactly the same way. The difference is a rocket can't ignore its alarms, but you can. And you have, and the world around you has actually praised you for it. Yeah, let that sit in. So we can ignore it. We can put Band-Aids. We can cope with different things to mask it, to make it seem like we're not in burnout. Now, here's the clinical definition I want you to hold on to. Burnout is a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by excessive and prolonged stress. It occurs when you feel overwhelmed, emotionally drained, and unable to meet constant demands. Unable to meet constant demands. Friend, if you cannot meet the demands of your own physical health, your own mental health, your own emotional health, you will exhaust to the point of burnout. It is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. And here's something I really need you to understand. Burnout does not stay in one lane. It cannot be burnout at work and perfectly fine at home, or vice versa, burnout at home, but when I go to work, I'm okay and I'm thriving. It is a holistic issue compiled from prolonged stress in any area of your life, and it will show up in every area of your life, whether you invite it to or not. Okay, now here is an amazing concept I want to give you from Dr. Jacinta Jimenez, a doctor of psychology who wrote The Burnout Fix and who, by the way, experienced burnout herself. Because burnout doesn't discriminate. It doesn't skip the psychologists or the coaches or the chaplains or the nurses who know better. No, it gets everyone, okay? So Dr. Jimenez uses the concept of a personal pulse. And as a nurse, I need you to know how perfectly this translates. You know what a healthy pulse looks like. You know what it feels like. And you know what tachycardia feels like. You know what a dysrhythmia sounds like on a monitor and what it looks like. But when was the last time you checked your own pulse? Not your patient's, not your husband's. I've done that. Not your kids. Proverbs 4:23 says, "Watch over your heart with all diligence, for from it flows the springs of life." And Ecclesiastes 10:2 reminds us that a wise man's heart turns him toward the right way. God was talking about pulse checks long before medicine was. And Dr. Jimenez says that maintaining steady pulse practices, consistent rhythms of care for yourself, will build your resilience and lead to true success in life and work, not this facade that we always chase after and lead us to burnout, which I call these faith-based practices, which is in the subtitle of my podcast title. So we're speaking the same language, and not one thing is going to help you. Not one study pulse practice, not one faith-based practice, not one wellness retreat, not one good week, not one vacation, but steady pulse practices. Because burnout is rarely, very rarely, a sudden crash and burn. It is a gradual decline, like slowly sliding down a stress curve over months or years until one day you realize you've been running on fumes for so long that you forgot what a full tank actually felt like. I think that's where a lot of us are. We don't even know what it feels like to live an optimal stress level and to live at that healthy level, because this is how it's been going for our whole career. Okay, now here is where I want to get really honest with you. For a lot of you, especially my high achievers, my perfectionists, my type A nurses who have never missed a shift and always found a way. Hey, guys, I have a little side note. I never missed a day of school. Never. Even in college. From the day I went to preschool, I never missed a single day. So I know exactly what it means to be a perfectionist and a high achiever. And that is why I had a hard time admitting that I was in burnout. And you may too. If you have said, I'm a high achiever, and you know that you're always striving for excellent work, and maybe you have worn the badge of a perfectionist like I did and said, this is a good thing, which I now realize has not been, and I am now a recovered perfectionist. But admitting you are in burnout feels like you are admitting you failed. I know. But perfectionism told me that burnout was a character flaw, and that if I tried harder, organized better, cared more, I could outrun it. And that's not true. And this is what I've learned. Admitting you are in burnout is not a failure, but is actually the first act of courageous recovery. Yes, the very first thing to do to fully recover is admitting that you're in burnout. It's being self-aware of where your pulse actually is and how steady it is and is not. I think about Lacey Connor, the nurse that we talked to in episode 215, and she made the brave decision to step away from nursing when she was in burnout and she tried to keep pushing through. But then she realized after some constructive criticism back and her own self-awareness that she needed to step away. And this wasn't weakness. That was a woman showing herself the same compassion she has spent years pouring into everyone else. Yes, a big thing about this all is self-compassion, which I'm going to do a whole episode on that in itself. So can I tell you something about us nurses? We are some of the most resilient humans on the planet. The things that you have witnessed, survived, held space for, and walked through, we could literally write books on just grit, on resilience. And if you've written one, please get in touch with me because I want to have you on the podcast. But you have sat with people in their very worst moments and you showed up anyway. But here's what I also know to be true. It is just as gritty and just as brave to lay it all down and rest. Resting is courageous. Admitting you need help is courageous. Saying something has to change, it's courageous. You're not giving up. You are being more aware to your own body, your own physical needs. You are being aware of your holistic health of you so that you can better care for those around you. You are waking up to your own self. This is a beautiful thing. Okay, so now that we know what burnout is, let's talk about how it actually is showing up in your life. Because sometimes we need someone to hold up the mirror. That's what our clients do for us as a nurse coach. They hold up the mirror. And so that's what our kids do as well. So research by Masluch and Leader tells us burnout has 3 core components: exhaustion, cynicism, which is low engagement with your job and your life, and inefficacy, which is that feeling of nothing I do matters and I can't keep up anyway. Sound familiar? And burnout shows up on a continuum in 4 common ways. These are the ways that I inform about most often: distance, conflict, over and under functioning, and projection. So let me make these really real for you. Distance. You are physically present but emotionally checked out. You are going through the motions at the bedside, at the dinner table, in your marriage. You are there, but you are not there. And you might not even notice it at first because it happens so gradually. And then again, this is a continuum. So it can go to the point where you are avoiding things at all costs. You are avoiding your manager at work. You are avoiding really spending that one-on-one time with your kids because you don't have the emotional capacity. It can be on a range of things that are avoidance, distancing, and behaviors that are similar. Then there is over functioning and under functioning. But this, for us nurses, it's most of the time going to be over functioning. This one is sneaky because it looks like excellence. You are picking up extra shifts. You're staying late. You're taking on more because you feel responsible and no one else will do it the right way. So I'll do it. High achievers are so good at over functioning that they wear it like a badge again until it quietly turns into high functioning fatigue. And high functioning fatigue inevitably turns into burnout. This was me at the bedside. Over functioning felt like dedication. It was actually depletion dressed up in scrubs. Okay, and then there is conflict. This one shows up at home first, I believe. Most of the time it's at home first because you're over functioning at work. And so you got to put on your best behavior and then you're in that high functioning fatigue at work. And then you come home and these are your safe people. This is your safe place. And so you let your guard down and you snap at your kids over something small and immediately think, that's not like me. Why did I say that? And then you use a tone with your husband that you never use with a patient. You feel irritable, reactive, on edge. That flash of regret you feel afterwards, this is a flashing alarm. You have to pay attention to it. Now, this one showed up for me. And when I saw it, this is just a little side note, but when I saw this, I told my husband, and I told him in a calm scenario, not in the heat of the moment, but I told him, I never want to talk to you in a mean tone. I never want to talk to you in an irritable voice. I don't want to yell at you. I always want to be loving and kind to you. That is my heart. I've noticed in myself and I've learned that when I am anxious and in burnout, I will say things in a not nice tone and I would be very irritable and I may even yell. So if I do that, can you know that I am anxious about something? And can you just ask me? Can you just stop me in the middle of my tracks and ask me in the middle of my rant? Can you ask me, what are you anxious about? Because I need someone to pull me out of the spiral. So if you know this is you, please use that strategy. It is really helpful. And it might be hard to use with your kids, but if you have someone like your husband there and then seeing you react to your kids, they can even ask you in that scenario as well. So it is amazing to have that accountability. Okay, the next one is projection. This is when the weight you are carrying starts landing on everyone around you. You become critical, negative, quick to assume the worst. It's not who you are. It is what chronic stress does to an unprocessed nervous system. And it's everyone else's fault but yours. And then there's the one we talk about least. Again, we're talking about how this burnout is presenting in your life, how the stress is presenting. And this one is illness. Prolonged stress leads to chronic inflammation, and chronic inflammation leads to disease. And you may be dealing with a health issue right now. Exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix, a diagnosis that came out of nowhere, a body that just keeps breaking down. And the root cause may very well be the burnout you haven't named yet. Your body is keeping the score, and it has been and always will be, and it will eventually present the bill. All right, friend, here's where I want to land today. You now know what burnout is. You have a picture of how it might be showing up in your life, and I really, really hope that something in this episode gave you permission to stop, to check your pulse and say, yes, this is me, and I am ready to do something about it. Because awareness is where healing begins. Not when it's perfect and not when you have a plan and not when you're ready to start, but right now in the honesty of the moment. Right here is what I also know. If your nervous system is dysregulated, if your body is locked in fight or flight mode, you will always feel like there's no way out. A body in protection mode cannot receive healing. So before part 2, I want you to go right now and download the STAT protocol. It is completely free. It is 5 tools to reset your nervous system in 5 minutes or less. You can use it in your car before you walk into your house, after a shift, in the bathroom, at work, anywhere. These are amazing tools these are your steady pulse practices. These are your faith-based practices that are going to keep you out of burnout. They're going to get you back on track. You have to get your body out of survival mode first, and then we talk about the full recovery plan in part 2. So go right now to www.theshanwright.com/stat. Grab your stat protocol. The link is also in the show notes. In part 2, we are talking about the actual holistic healing journey, what recovery looks like for burnout, practically, spiritually, physically. You do not want to miss it. Until then, may the Lord's face shine upon you and give you peace. Shalom, shalom. I pray that blessed you, and it would bless me big if you would share the show with a friend or write a review. It will only take a few minutes, and it's the best way for people to find the show too. I would love to connect over on Instagram at @theshanwright, or you can email me hello@theshanwright.com. And until next time, may the Lord's face shine upon you and give you peace. Shalom.